I'm Steve Skojek, and this is the OnePeterFive Minute. Hello, 1P5ers. Today is Wednesday, January 29th, 2020. And before I get to the good stuff, I need to harass you because with only 2 days left in the month, we are at just 57% of our fundraising goal. So, we're in serious crunch time. If you enjoy our content and can even kick in $1 or $2, it'd really help us to pay the bills, which is kind of important if you want to stay in business. Now, I'm especially talking to you, guy who, like me, always grumbles at fundraising messages and mutters, "Just give me the free content, monkey boy." Well, today, my friend, is your day to shine. Be a hero. Make us proud. Support this apostolate and the fine content we provide. Don't let down your fellow man. In fact, do it for the children. If you want to help out, just go to onepeterfive.com/donate. And if you don't, and you just want us to go out of business, do nothing. Now for the news. Well, the Legionaries of Christ still exist for some unfathomable reason, and if that wasn't news enough by itself, they've got even more sex abuse scandals hitting the headlines this week. Yay! Gee, who would have thought that an order founded by one of the most vile clerical sexual predators in history, whose abuses would have made Rasputin blush, a man who wasn't content to just abuse his own seminarians, but also fathered children with mistresses and then raped them too, all while telling his followers that he never said no to Christ and refusing confession on his deathbed. Who would have thought that a man like that could have possibly had problems in the order he founded with all kinds of demonic sexual abuse stuff? It's so weird. Now we have confirmation from the Legion itself that 2 rectors, back to back, at one of their minor seminaries in Mexico, were abusing minors between 1985 and 1992. 1985 and 1992, decades ago. So why are we just hearing about it now? Wait, could it be because the Legionaries are a corrupt order founded by a monster? Could that be why? Maybe. Of course, we know that sexual abuse tends to perpetuate from victim to victimizer to victim. So what we're not hearing is almost as important as what we are. Did any of the victims of these priests in the minor seminary go on to become priests themselves? Have they also abused children? Who is even looking into any of this? Now, the papal nuncio in Mexico has said that he's confident that the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith would deal with the, quote, cover-up network, end quote, that allowed these cases to happen. First of all, the word confident is a statement of feeling or belief, not a statement of fact. Does he not have confirmation that the Vatican is going to investigate this thoroughly? Oh wait, hold on. Let me back up. He actually wasn't referring to the cases at the minor seminary. No, he was referring to yet another legionary priest, a third legionary priest, Fernando Martinez Suarez, now laicized, who abused at least 6 girls between the ages of 6 to 11 in the early 1990s when he was the director of the Cumbres Institute in Cancun. And he had additional accusations from the 1960s at a different legionary institute. One of the girls abused by Martinez, Belén Marquez, now an adult, said that at least one priest in the order knew about the abuse allegations since 1993, but did nothing. She also claims that Father Eduardo Robles Gil, the current general director of the Legion, acknowledged in 2014 that he knew about it, that he knew about the accusations, but chose to do nothing, citing his decision to, quote, follow the decisions that had been made in past decades, end quote, and just not reopen the case, not even bother. Father Robles Gil entered the seminary with the Legion in 1977. He was ordained in 1983. These were prime years for Father Maciel. He held various leadership positions throughout Maciel's tenure and was, as the Legion likes to call those who were active in the order while the founder was still alive, a co-founder. This means that the odds that he didn't have a working relationship with Maciel are very poor. So the question is, and remains, how many priests formed by Maciel or by his corrupt pedagogy are still in the Legion, pulling the strings and calling the shots under the guise of reform? How many of these men who were steeped in an institutional culture of deceit, manipulation, and calumny, and I'm telling you I know this because I was subjected to all three during my own time with Regnum Christi, are responsible for the continuation of this order and the preservation of all of its closeted skeletons? How many of these priests knew Father Maciel was a fraud, but said nothing and yet remain in place? How many knew of other cases of institutional abuse and said nothing but still remain in place? Why does the order still exist at all? And why have all the allegedly good priests who people keep telling me are still there not running away without looking back like Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah? Because if you're a good priest, you don't stay in an order like this. You go. Be a priest somewhere else. Go to a diocese. Go to an order. But run like hell from this demonic institution founded by an evil man. Go! How much do the Legionaries' vast financial resources, reported to have been at $1 billion back in 2004, have to do with why the Vatican hasn't done its damn job yet again and burned the whole thing down? Frankly, they should salt the earth where it stood with exorcised salt. Make it go away. How evil does a religious congregation have to be in order to be put down for the common good? Oh, wait, I forgot. All you have to do is want to offer the traditional Latin Mass and oppose Freemasonry. That's all the Franciscan Friars of the Immaculate did, and they were wiped off the face of the earth. Thanks, Francis. And speaking of the people who killed the Franciscans of the Immaculate, but left the Legionaries standing, let us turn our attention to Rome, where Pope worship is fashionable again among progressive clerics, and Cardinal Gualtiero Bassetti, president of the Italian Bishops' Conference, told journalists that people who don't like Pope Francis and are not happy with him should just leave the Catholic Church and become Protestant. What an idiotic thing to say. Especially because I'm pretty sure it's Pope Francis who, had a statue of Martin Luther placed in the Vatican, let Vatican Radio put up a picture of his face transposed on a famous portrait of Martin Luther, celebrated the 500th anniversary of the Reformation, and said that Martin Luther was, quote, not mistaken on the doctrine of justification. Which is, a weird thing for a pope to say, since the Council of Trent condemned Luther's notions of justification by faith alone and grace alone. But apparently, if you're the Pope, you can do whatever the hell you want, and there will never be any consequences. You can declare the law of gravity invalid, I guess, and things will all just start floating around. Or at least, that's what you'd think by listening to today's papal sycophants, of which there are still alarmingly many considering what is going on in this pontificate. And yet, Francis is still pimping Protestantism while people like you and me, who have a problem with the things that are going on in Rome and how far they are from the true faith, are the ones being called Protestants here. That's a pretty weird accusation. I mean, since when do these prelates think Protestant is a pejorative at all? They friggin' love those guys. They even made our Mass just like theirs. And before you object to my saying so, Francis thinks so too. In fact, on January 10th, he told the pastor of the Lutheran evangelical community in Rome that, quote, Catholics and Protestants are very close to one another in what they do in their public worship, end quote. The Pope was alleged to have also made a reference to an example of a Catholic priest who, according to him, helped a Lutheran minister in celebrating a liturgy of the word for his Lutheran community, whatever that means. The head of the Lutheran evangelical community in Rome also alleges that Pope Francis told him the Catholic Mass and the Lutheran worship service are very similar. And this is one of those weird moments where I would say the Pope is absolutely correct. And this is why I no longer attend the Novus Ordo. That's all the time we have for today. Please remember to like and share this video, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and to head over to OnePeterFive.com/donate to support our work. Until next time, I'm Steve Skojak. Thank you for watching the OnePeterFive Minute. It's almost like he doesn't like the Legionaries. In fact, on January 10th, he told the pastor of the Lutheran evangelical community in Rome, I don't know why they have this accent when they're in Rome, but they're the Lutheran evangelical community, and My teleprompter is going very slowly. Just give me the free content, monkey boy!